Roy Chancelley, and I was in the Marine Corps for 3 years. I enlisted on my 18th birthday. I live in Mason, Ohio.
My name is Paul Bernhardt, and went into the service after I graduated from high school, and I live in Mason, Ohio, here at the Mason Christian Village.
My name is Roy Price. I was served in the Air Force for 14 years, on active duty and on inactive duty. 2 years in World War II, and I spent 2 years in the Korean War. I do live in Mason, Ohio, in Mason Christian Village.
My name is Bill Mendez. I served in the U.S. Army 1968 to 1970. I served at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and Fort Stewart, Georgia, and I live in Mason, Ohio.
Harry Rhoda, branch of service with the Army Air Corps, World War II. I served in Europe, Italy, in the 15th Air Force as bomber pilot, B-24. Bombed in 9 countries around Europe. Got a few of the Germans. I was German too. But at any rate, that was all past history. Right now I live in Mason Christian Village, and this is a great place.
My name is Roy Harriger. I was in the Navy, a radioman on a submarine tender in Western Australia, in Perth, Fremantle, Australia. And I live in Mason Christian Village, and I've got 3 granddaughters that went to school here.
It's Cliff Gump. I was in the Army Reserve from November of '65 to November of '71. I was in the 478th Engineering Battalion in Fort Thomas, Kentucky. Went to basic training at Fort Knox. Spent the rest of my 6 months at Fort Dix, New Jersey. And I ended up the mess sergeant. Ended up a cook. And I live in Mason, and I love Mason.
Man, I enlisted in the Navy right out of high school and served for 3.5 years. And I was on a carrier in World War II in the Pacific, and the only action I saw was our pilots bombed Wake Island just before the war ended. But the action I was in was a typhoon our ship was involved in later on. And I live in Mason, Ohio, and I sub at Mason High School.
My name is Joseph Immelt. I served in the United States Navy, fire controlman, 3rd class. And that's starting fires, not putting out fires with guns. So, yeah, I served on the USS Henry A. Wiley for 2 years, and then spent 4 years in the Navy Reserve, and I live in Mason, Ohio.
My name is Jerry Shipley. When I graduated in ROTC from UC, I went in the Air Force. I was assigned to Research and Development Command at Griffiths Air Force Base. I spent 2 years there, and I live in Mason, Ohio.
My name is Dick Cothrati. I was a lieutenant in the United States Coast Guard stationed in the Gulf of Mexico area. And my main role during the Vietnam War was to ready cargo ships for transportation of arms and supplies to Vietnam. And now I live in the great city of Mason.
My name is Chuck Zindell. I enlisted in 1958 in the Army. I served in 1978. I had 2 tours of duty to Vietnam, 2 to Korea, 2 to Germany, and 1 to Okinawa, and I live in Mason, Ohio.
I'm Dave Doty. I spent 20 years with Uncle Sam in the Air Force from '63 to '83. I spent 4 years off and on in Vietnam, B-52s, and I think I had about 285 missions. And I love Mason.
My name is Richard Johnson. People call me Dick. I served in the Navy from 1945 till 1946. I was on a gasoline tanker all over the Pacific. The last place I was at was Okinawa before coming home. And then in 1948, I joined the Army, and I served in combat in Korea in 1951. I was an assistant squad leader, and the biggest battle I was in was at Chip Yong Ni, and I was wounded there, and I'm awarded a Purple Heart, and I live in Mason Christian Village, Mason, Ohio.
Okay, I'm Bob Young. Branch of service was Navy. And as you mentioned, I'm only 93 and a half. And I drive a red Camaro, by the way. Live here in Mason, at Mason Christian Village.
Thank you, veterans, for your service.
Good.